What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Full Court Heave. It's your host Shaygoon. We had a lot of action today, a lot of things happening with the Raptors and across the league overall. A lot of trades were made. How many of real significance? That remains to be seen. Probably the biggest trade of the day for the Raptors, of course, Kelly Olynyk Ochai Agbaji, new members of the Toronto Raptors, shipping out, of course, that first round pick. That was the worst of like OKC. It's going to be roughly like the 29th pick in the first round this year in a draft class that's not the greatest. And I will say that I've looked at it a bunch. Personally, I'm not super in love with this class, but there's players every year. Raptors ship off Kira Lewis and Otto Porter Jr. Otto ends up barely playing any basketball for the Raptors over 2 seasons. Probably the most forgettable time of his whole NBA career. Every other franchise he's played for, he at least suited up like at least like a quarter of a season. Didn't really see that at all. And into this season, it just became a situation where he became healthy and then was just not playing. So maybe that's on Darko. Didn't really like what he was seeing enough to consistently put him out there. But it just became a situation where I think what happened is by the time Otto was ready to play, the priorities of the team shifted from let's get wins to let's make sure the young guys get minutes. I think that's ultimately what happened. But we make the trade. Kira Lewis, not too much to say there. Interesting prospect, didn't really get too much time there. I think ultimately that was more of a place gap, a place hole, because he's a restricted free agent. He hasn't played, like, I don't think he played. Did he play a minute with the big team? Maybe a couple minutes. But overall, he didn't play that much, so you're not going to go into restricted free agency and offer him anything. I don't know. On the other hand, Jordan Nwora has shown some things, so we'll see what happens there. But you get Ochai Agbaji. Let's start there. Very athletic wing, shooter in college. Shooting struggles a bit here in his second year in the NBA, but definitely a guy that in theory should be able to shoot the basketball. You're looking at more opportunity, more confidence for him here in Toronto, and see what you can do with that. It's a chance. You're taking a flyer, but it's not like a buy low flyer. I think there's general consensus around the league that there's still a lot of potential there and still reasonable expectations that he meets some of that potential. Kelly Olynyk, I saw a lot of people concerned about the Kelly Olynyk side of it and the fact that you're giving up a first round pick. I mean, if you're just reading words and saying, oh, first round pick, oh, it's a first for Kelly Olynyk, yeah, that does sound a little bit high. But when you look at the context, it's like we're not bringing in 3 to 4 rookies into this team and think this team is going to be anything but absolute garbage. You can't have a team of all young guys. It's very rare that works out well. It's just very rare. OKC is a rare exception where they don't really have the vets and it works out. Most situations you have to have a blend of older players that work well with young guys, but you can't have too many older players. That's the thing, because you still need that runway for these young guys to play. For sure, completely understand that. But you look at the way Darko wants to play as well, and the way the bigs want to pass the ball. I think I think Olynyk's a perfect fit for that. I think this sets them up perfectly to go target a big prospect in the draft and have poeltl and Kelly Olynyk as 2 of the guys to mentor this player. So I tweeted, if you're not following the Twitter, go follow the Twitter. At Shaygoon_. Tell me you're from the channel. I'll follow you back, of course. You know, I gotta stay repping with the gangy. You feel me? I'm all locked in on Zach Edey in the draft. You got a couple picks that I assume is gonna at least be in the range of him. Depending on the mocks for him are all over the place. Some people have him first round, some people have him second round. The mobility concerns is really what's the skewing piece, that like having some people have him way late in the second round, some people having him up in the first, sometimes even lottery. So we'll see. I think Zach Edey will be available with one of the picks that the Raptors have, and I think the Raptors should make that move. And yeah, you just look at the height you could have in the front court, because Olynyk can play some 4. Olynyk, poeltl, and Edey, I think finally we can not get killed so crazy on the board. I think that's a huge piece. I think we also need to target big wings. Ochai is like, what, 6'5"? So he's more of a wing guard, you know? He's less of a wing forward. So I still think we need more forward depth. Chris Boucher, my dog, survived. My brother, I didn't want you to go. Personally, I did not want you to go. I don't know how you're still here, Don't know how you're still here, but I personally did not want you to go. So this is all good things. Yeah, Bruce Brown is still here as well. That one a bit more surprising, but ultimately, if the market is not there, because I think the market was there initially, but Lakers ultimately weren't going to trade one of the first round picks. So what are they really offering at that point? You know, Knicks, once they made their trade, which is probably the biggest trade of the day, they pick up Burks and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Is it Bogdan or Boyan? That one might be That's Boyan. Yeah, that's Boyan. My bad. Big moves. Great moves for them, especially with OG. Just got announced that he's going to be hurt and out for minimum 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks or something like that, with a small surgery. Yeah, huge move for them to stay competitive. And if they're all healthy, that's an Eastern Conference championship game, potentially NBA Finals berth. Like, I'm not sold on any team in the East specifically. Like, if the Knicks made the finals, that wouldn't be absolutely crazy. It'd still be a little bit wild just because I haven't seen a Knicks team make the finals in my lifetime. But it was amazing moves, and the way Thibodeau wants to play, all these players suit that to a 10, to a T. So, yeah, they're suddenly a really deep team that's going to be really interesting, really fun to watch. Back on the Raptors side of things, we have another move to announce as well. I don't want to go too long with this video. I actually have so much to do today. This was actually one of the worst days to have a trade deadline for me personally, but y'all don't care about that. Dennis Schroeder gone, and a lot of y'all are really happy about that. I'm fine with it, obviously, because I don't think Dennis was really part of the long-term plans. I feel like Dennis was brought here to be the starting point guard on a team that pushed for the not the finals, pushed for the playoffs, right? As soon as the management realized this team is not making the playoffs and they decide we need to trade Pascal, we need to trade OG, at that point, you're probably letting Dennis go. You know, as soon as Dennis is coming off the bench, 1,000% you're ready to let him go. Some rumors that he was very unhappy about moving to the bench. Could see that. It always did feel a little bit weird that, like, it seemed like Darko, if it was completely up to him, would still be starting Dennis, and this would be 1,000% Dennis's team. And I can understand why. Dennis is a good lead guard. I think when he's not hunting his shot too crazy, I like a lot of what he does. But he does hunt his shot a lot. And he's not a great shooter. So we make the trade for Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie gets waived. I was not huge on Dinwiddie. Like, I like his talent. But yeah, there's been some things lately where I've been like, it's just like a lot of noise around you for a player that's super solid, but like, why is there so much like trash talking other players in situations where like the Nets were apparently really happy he was gone, and that wasn't a surprise to me. I was hearing things about that just on Nets Twitter for a minute, you know. So he's gone. That creates a huge gap in terms of the backup point guard role. You can see Scottie running some backup point, you know, take him out early, bring him back in. You could definitely see Bruce Brown maybe running some. And then, are we finally going to give Javon Freeman Liberty a chance? How many of y'all really want to see that opportunity for him? Because I would say he deserves at least a couple games to see what he got. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors go and pick up a point guard either from the G League, overseas. They're going to look through their options, free agents right now. I'll tell you right now, cool on Killian Hayes. No, thank you. No, thank you. I know a lot of people, I don't know why so many people wanted Killian Hayes. Like, bro, no, he's not it. Like, no disrespect to the brother. I do not know him, but hell no, I do not want Killian Hayes as like wasting, like we'd just be wasting developmental time on him personally. I'm very cool off Killian Hayes, and maybe that comes back to bite me. I hope it does, you know, good for him, but I'm cool off that. If we're talking about G League prospects, I would love to see Sharif Cooper get a chance. A couple other guys as well. But Sharif is, yeah, that boy a baller. That boy been a baller for some time. Regardless, Javon Freeman Liberty. Does Marquise Noel get a shot? Maybe last 15 games a year. We're like resting guys. Sure, at that point we can play. Marquise, like, he's been playing good enough with the 905. I think he's hurt right now, but overall he's been playing good enough where it's like, you want to give him a chance against the NBA competition again. See, is it still an issue? Because when we were playing preseason, that was a ginormous issue. So I'd be curious to see what that looks like now. But yeah, there's going to be some gaps on the roster now. We got 2 open roster spots, so we got to see what we're going to do with that. Interesting rotation. I assume Kelly is a bench player. I think he's going to be your backup big. the way the Bobby talked about it at the presser sounded that way. So I think you're starting Yak, Scottie, RJ, probably Gary, and Quickley. Maybe you go Bruce Brown, but Gary's been playing way better as a starter, so maybe you go with Gary at the 2. It's gonna be really interesting with Gary as well, because like he's been playing a lot better. He did not get traded as well. How much of the future is he involved with? It looks like they're trying to weigh their options there too, based on what Bobby said in the presser. He said something along the lines of he didn't start the way we wanted to when asked about are you guys extending him, but he's played better as of late, and we're going to continue to evaluate him. So very interesting. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is solid in Toronto except for the fact that Scottie is an all-star. Scottie's the face of the team. Scottie's actually going to be the skills competition too, so another thing to check out if you're a Raptors fan. A lot of interesting things going on overall in the league. Was there anything else interesting in terms of trades? I mean, Boston got Xavier Tillman yesterday. Solid pickup for them. They got Jaden Springer as well. Another solid pickup from them. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting in the East. Milwaukee gets Pat Bev. A lot of signs pointing to Kyle Lowry in Philly, which is gonna really, I want the best for Kyle, but Philly is a tough team to root for. So I don't know, we'll see. This video long enough. Like I said, I don't really have time to do much editing, but leave your comments down below. We got a game tomorrow, so I'll definitely be reading the comments in the next video and seeing what it looks like. Fred's back in town, posted a nice tribute video. Shouts out to Fred. You know, I ain't got no hate for you over here, brother. Regardless, I can't even remember if I probably talk trash to some degree at some small tiny level about just about every player on the roster, but this is what we do. This is sports, man. This is part of the fun. It's part of the love, you know. I don't say nothing too crazy. Another news, Fatty Daddy is gone. Fiercey, I know you're upset. I actually saw your comment before I started this video. Like I said, I just don't have time to edit at this moment, but yeah, Thadulus is gone. What a time. I can't lie to y'all, I feel kind of half decent about it. Not because like I would be fine if he's on the team, but like Garrett Temple type role, you know what I mean? Just cause, yeah. Anyway, I'm much happier with Kelly Olynyk, and I think you can re-sign him. That's another thing I didn't talk about. I feel like you do re-sign him for like 2 to 3 years. That's not a bad deal, and he stabilizes your team. I think people are too upset thinking like, oh, this is like a win now or a buyer type move. I don't agree with that at all. I think you have to have good, solid players that know the role across the roster, and you just picked up one, you know, at a light cost. I don't really consider that a heavy cost. It's salary and a late first round pick. You're gonna have two. Okay, if they lose their pick this year, you're gonna have one pick before that, and you're gonna have the first pick in the second round. You know what I mean? It's what it is. Is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know how you feel overall in the comments down below. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.